Hey guys, it's Alex C with TFBTV, and today's going to be kind of a special, unusual episode because I've got something really cool that I want to show you guys, and I didn't want to just do a Friday field strip on it because it's so rare and unusual, at least in the United States. So what I have here is actually an extremely rare variant of the Chinese Type 81, which is already very rare in the United States. But this is an EM356. That's going to be a 5.56 version of the Type 81, and you'll notice I've got a strange barrel magazine in it, a translucent Polish magazine. I'll tell you why in a second, but it is a cool looking gun. It's got that nice folder on it. So before I ramble on a little bit more, let's take it in a place where I can show you guys some really cool features that this gun has. Alright guys, so I've got the Type 81 here on the table to show you some of its design features and whatnot. And the first thing I want to point out actually is the folding stock. You'll notice it's got a very nice plastic cheek rest, and it is one of the more rigid folding stock designs I've messed with. Once you have it locked, it is extremely rigid, and I would really like to have a Type 56 AK variant with this folding stock on there. It's also cool because it's got the cleaning kit actually concealed within the stock there, which is nice. I guess it is very convenient. Of course, you got your cleaning rod under the barrel on the front of the gun. So that's pretty cool, very well thought out feature. Again, I'm going to fold the stock. There's just a simple button. Once that button is depressed, it will lock folded. So while this kind of looks like an AK, a lot of people would confuse it with an AK at first. Really, it's kind of a weird fusion of an SKS, an AK, and a Dragunov, really. It's not a long stroke gun like an AK. And I'd also like to point out that this is not a factory magazine that's proper for the gun. I've tried everything. I've tried a Valmet mag, a Galil mag, SAR 3, even a Norinco Type 84S magazine. Nothing really fit. Apparently, these came into the country with no magazines. A brief history, they were imported in '89 for the '89 SHOT Show. And then the next month, they were banned from import by the George Bush executive order of '89. So that kind of stinks. This could have been a prolific and popular gun, but I guess the executive branch decided that wasn't a good idea. So what I've found out basically is that 3 of these EM356 were confirmed to have been made. They were made in 5.56 for the American market. The Type 81 is originally chambered in 7.62 by 39. So they basically imported a solid stock, from what I can tell, an underfolder, and then this side folder. And since they didn't come in with magazines, magazines were never actually developed. So what I did is spent a significant amount of time with a sander and a Dremel, and I kind of managed to barely get a barrel magazine to fit. It does feed. I've tried it with some dummy rounds, so we'll see about shooting it in a future episode, but I don't have high hopes until I can find a better solution than this, but we'll see. So the mags are fully developed. That doesn't mean the gun doesn't work. When I got it in and took a look at it, the barrel did have some fouling, so it's obviously been shot and enjoyed, but I'd also like to make a plug here for our TFB writer Tim Yan. He's actually done an article on the Type 81 for Small Arms Review. I'll link to that in the description if you want to know more about the standard 7.62 by 39 version. So, anyways, the 7.62 by 39 guns were were used by the Chinese starting in '81. They're still in service with rear line units and whatnot. But the QBZ-95 and the 03 are now the predominant Chinese guns. But let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the guts and see how it works. Now, of course, the first thing you're going to do to field strip it is the exact same thing you do on an AK. There is a button on the back that's on the back of the recoil spring guide rod. So press that and then lift off your dust cover. And the dust cover is kind of nifty because it's ribbed, and yeah, a little reminiscent of the AK actually. So you can definitely see the AK heritage there. And again, you can see the folding stock's buttons, easily accessible and quite nice. And then it's very still, kind of familiar. You just pull the recoil spring guide rod out, pull the carrier to the rear, and lift it out. It really looks kind of unusual. The bolt head actually does look like an AK's bolt head. So let's take a look at that and disassemble it a little further. But you can see how the recoil spring guide rod is held in the receiver. There's almost like a dovetailed section that's oddly shaped that fits into the bottom of the rear trunnion. So if we rotate the bolt out, you could forgive your most scrupulous gun guy for mistaking this at a quick glance for an AK bolt. It's got the large lugs of an AK bolt. It looks a little different. There's the ejector cuts in a different place and stuff like that, but it does have a spring-loaded firing pin. It's not a free-floating firing pin, which is nice. As for the carrier, it's extremely heavy for not having a long piston on the front. You can see the gun's actually got a lot of underlug. That means the bolt carrier is going to travel pretty far to the rear before it actually actuates and begins rotating the bolt. A small arms designer will tell you that more underlug is better, so that's a well thought out feature. So let's keep field stripping the gun. I guess I should add here, the safety's nice and accessible. It's not like an AK where you have to reach up. It's can be actuated right there, which is pretty nice. The trigger is kind of a hodgepodge of all kinds of different stuff. It does break cleanly. It is nice. It's not an AK trigger at all, though. I'm not sure it would share any components with the AK. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but very unusual. I'd also like to add that it does have a stamped sheet metal receiver, but then the trunnion is a solid block of steel that's riveted in. So you do get the weight advantage of, I guess, a stamped steel receiver with the strength of a milled trunnion. As for doing the front of the gun, it's really weird and very unusual. You have range settings up to 500 meters, and the sights are actually very good, not like AK sights. So you have 100, and then as you rotate, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rear sight actually moves upward. As you rotate that, which is pretty cool. You don't have to mess with a slider. It's a simple button with very visible numbers, which is very cool. Now to remove the front handguard and access the piston, this actually took me a long time because I couldn't find a manual at all, much less one in English. So you pull the rear sight drum a little bit, rotate it forward, and then you're free to remove the top handguard. All right, so if we remove the piston assembly here, basically you kind of rotate this, pull back, and then it should, my hand's kind of bent, it's kind of hard to mess with this from this angle. Ugh, okay. So you've got a very long piston here, which is a short stroke piston, like a Dragunov, but then you've also got sort of a regulating device here that locks into place and then allows gas to impinge upon the piston. Curiously, it can rotate, and then it's got a hole. I don't know if it's for a gas cutoff or a grenade launching setting or something. I've tried to look, but I'm not really sure. However, it does lock in place, and it can also move freely depending on how you set it up, which is kind of strange. But aside from that, that's pretty much all there is to the Type 81. It's an exceptionally well thought out and well made gun. It just didn't, unfortunately, its importation was stifled, so it never got popular here in the United States, along with a lot of other Norinco products. The wood is actually quite nice. The machining is a very high quality. Even the bluing is very nice. If you have ever messed with a Polytech or a Norinco product before, like a commercial AK, they're all extremely nice. Norinco products kind of get a bad rap, maybe because of some blunders here and there, but Norinco AKs are fantastic, and the Type 81 is an exceptionally well thought out, well designed gun. It has all the features of a well made gun, and like I said, it's unfortunate that their importation was stifled by United States political squabbles, but I didn't make that decision, so that's what it is. It does have a chrome lined bore. I would like to shoot it. I'm still working on getting the feeding issues worked out in a magazine. It's actually quite difficult to make one fit and then feed properly, but I'm working on that, and hopefully we'll have a shooting video of this gun up for you guys. All right, guys, so I hope you found that look at the EM356/Type 81 informative. It's a really weird gun that we don't get to look at a lot in the United States, but historically significant. It was the main rifle for the Chinese military for a long time, and they've got a big military and they've got a lot of people in it that were using this rifle. So, like I said, I wish there were more of them. It's a really cool gun. It's well thought out, well designed, and it balances and handles really well. Look forward to our upcoming shooting video if I can get the kinks worked out, and hopefully that'll be a lot of fun to do. Anyways, I'd like to thank Ventura Munitions for making our videos possible. I'd like to thank you, the viewers, and we hope to see you next time. This is Alex C. with TFBTV, signing out.